wake with a jolt. In a fog of panic, I struggle to comprehend where I am, what time it is, whether anything is real. Like a diver emerging from deep water, I gasp a lungful of air. My fingertips are gripping hold of my bare knees, pressing right down to the bone. A rush of sensation. Sight, sound, smell, touch. All of this happens in less than a second, but it feels like I've lost a lifetime. Sorry about that. The phrase echoes around and round in my head until the words gradually start to make sense. The voice belongs to Terry. Terry, my boyfriend. Terry, who is driving the car in which I am the passenger, on our way home from the seaside, where we've spent the day. It's late, pitch black outside, and there's a song playing on the radio I've never heard before. I'm wearing denim shorts and a long-sleeve t-shirt, but I don't have any shoes on, and I can feel the sand between my toes. I loosen the grip on my poor knees and gradually relax back into the world I know and understand. Blind corner. What? Blind corner, Terry repeats. Adds a brake pretty sharpish. I woke you up. Sorry, Jen. You were driving too fast. How do you know I was driving too fast? You were asleep. Because you always drive too fast, I tell him, looking at the blur of trees and bushes, then at the speedometer. Reluctantly, he takes his foot off the pedal and we slow to a more moderate speed. It's fine, don't worry, there's nothing else on the roads. Well, then why did you have to brake so hard? Well, the bend was a bit tighter than I thought, that's all. Don't sweat. Then he laughs in that annoying way, puts his hand on my leg and says, go back to sleep. No. The thought fills me with dread. Bad dream? Yeah, maybe. I don't know. There was something before I woke. It left me with a sort of hollow feeling. Wherever I was in that dream, I didn't want to get back there in a hurry. How long was I asleep? 10, 15 minutes or so. Not long after we left Walton. I glance outside. The unlit country road providing no clue as to where we are. Where we'd been is Walton. Walton on the Naze. Spent the whole day there. We'd walked along the beach, paddled in the cold grey sea, eaten ice cream and candy floss and fish and chips. We'd ridden the dodgems on the pier, pumped 100 coins through slot machines, played a dozen games of air hockey, and we'd walked the seawall all the way to Frinton and back. We ran and laughed and kissed and quarrelled and laughed some more. I think it was the fullest day I've ever had. No wonder I fell asleep so quickly and so deeply. Where are we? Somewhere between Walton and home. He shrugs. Yes, but do you know where? It doesn't look familiar and I don't... Can you slow down, please? The speedometer had crept over 60 again. It's fine, I took a different route, less traffic. Yes, but do you actually know where we are? More or less. He knows I hate it when he does this. I get anxious not knowing where we are. We got lost in Epping Forest once. I almost had a breakdown. I mean, I love the countryside. Who doesn't? But on the proviso, I know exactly how to get out of it and quickly. Back to street lights and houses and people. The anxiety stirs a flash of memory. Something from my past or something from the dream I just had. It's difficult sometimes to know the difference. Terry starts singing along to a song on the radio, trying to make me feel like I've got nothing to worry about, that he's got everything under control. He does it all the time and it never works. I reach into the glove compartment and fish out a road atlas, lay it on my lap and try to find the right page. But it's too dark to make anything out. Can I turn the light on? Well, not while I'm driving. I just want to know where we are. He tuts and slows the car. Hold on. There's a lay-by up ahead of sorts, a small recess in the road with overhanging branches. The tree's twisted fingers tap and scratch on my window as we pull to a halt. Thank you, I say warmly, appreciating his consideration. It's okay. He reaches up, turns on the courtesy light, and lets his arm drop around my shoulder. His other hand comes across and flicks to the correct page in the road atlas. Here's Walton, he says. So we must be somewhere around here. His finger tracks a route that goes across the page, off the bottom of the map, and onto the top of my leg, just south of Colchester. I can feel the heat of his fingertips lightly dancing on my bare skin. So that's his game. I take a breath and tell him flatly, forget it. Oh, come on, Jen, he insists. There's no one around. Exactly, we're in the middle of bloody nowhere. He leans in closer. Don't worry, I'll protect you. Is that what you call it? He laughs and takes this as a green light to move his fingers a few inches further up my leg. I take his hand, lift it gently, and place it back on the steering wheel. I just want to get home, I tell him. His turn to take a breath. Jen, you've had a lovely day, really nice, and it'd just be the perfect way to end it. You know, icing on the cake. So, take me home and then maybe, when we get there, if my mum and dad are asleep and upstairs in bed, then we could... Terry lets out a cavernous sigh of disappointment. If, maybe, he grumbles. Where's your sense of adventure? I say nothing. The radio plays a song of unrequited love. Right, fine, sod it, he says and flings open the car door. What? What are you doing? I need a piss. And with that, he disappears out into the darkness. Terry! I can hear the alarm in my voice rising. Don't! The driver's door swings shut, sealing me in. My immediate instinct is to get out and go after him, grab a hold of him, shout at him. Anything but be left alone. I reach for the car door handle, then stop. I don't want to be out there, in the pitch black. Mustn't panic. He'll be back in a minute. It's as light in here. The radio's on. Engine's ticking over. It's all fine. It's all good. I've got nothing to worry about. Just take a breath and don't be silly. That's what I have to tell myself. Don't be silly. It's what Terry would say. It's what my mum would say. Like she did all those years ago. When she and Dad left me in their car to go into that country pub, leaving me alone with a bottle of Coke, a packet of crisps and a colouring book. Oh, don't be silly, Jenny. We'll be back in a minute. You'll be fine. Only I wasn't fine, though. Was I, Mum? Because there was a man sitting in a green van across the other side of the car park, beneath the shadow of the trees, watching me. This frightened little girl with her Coke and her crisps and a stupid colouring book. Oh, I know you never believe me, Mum, but he was there, leering at me. And when he got out of his van and crossed the gravel towards me, I locked all the doors. And when he pressed his face against the window, I screamed and pushed down hard on the hooter. But by the time you and Dad came rushing out the pub, he and the van were gone. And I was just a hysterical child with an overactive imagination. Yeah. Take a breath. And don't be silly. It's not overactive, just highly developed. Miss Lynch, my English teacher, would say, referring to my imagination. And that's not a bad thing. Oh, but it was, in my case. The things I could conjure up so vividly in my mind as a child terrified me, kept me awake at nights, turned me into a nervous wreck. Miss Lynch encouraged me to put it into my writing, turn them into stories, which I did. And then she was terrified too. So I buried it, my imagination, deep beneath layers of mundanity and dull routine. Forsaking English for maths, I'd sit up in bed late into the night, driving myself to dreamless sleep of mind-numbing equations. Then, after leaving school, taking a job with a firm of chartered accountants, where all that is required of me is accuracy and a capacity for mechanical repetition. And finding myself a boyfriend whose own imagination stretches no further than Walton on the Naze, what car he longs for, and when, where, and how we can have sex. Where is Terry? How long does it take to have a piss in the bushes? He's a man, for God's sake. All he's got to do is stand up against a tree and whip it out. I mean, there's no one around, so... The car is suddenly flooded by a blinding light. Another car approaching from the opposite direction, with full beam blazing. I squint and shield my eyes, waiting for it to pass, but it stays right there in the middle of the road, its headlights illuminating the inside of our car with an intense, searching glow. A pang of irrational guilt. Is it the police? Have we done something wrong? Terry, for God's sake, where are you? Then the lights dip, and the car moves forward, pulling slowly alongside us. I can't see who's inside. I can't see anything. Just the opaque wall of the driver's window. But they can see me. I feel helpless, like an insect in a specimen jar, exposed. The courtesy light, that's why I can't see out. I reach up and turn it off, and the moment I do, I see the occupant of the other car. Only it's not a car. It's a van. A green van. I don't scream. My voice has been taken. I leap forward and press the lockdown button on Terry's car door, then throw myself backwards as far as I can onto my side of the car, knees up under my chin, arms wrapped tightly round my legs. I clamp my eyelids shut. I don't want to see what I know is out there. The car is idling, trembling. The radio's still playing, and I find myself stupidly mouthing along to the words of the song. They're trying the door now, and they're tapping on the window. I'm safe in here. I'm safe as long as the song keeps. Jenny, open the door. Terry! Oh, thank God! I unlocked the door, and there he is. Real and solid and furrow-browed. Jen, what's... He leans in and turns the volume down on the radio. Christ, Jim, what's going on? All I can manage is... van. And point to where it was. What van? I look beyond his shoulder. It's gone. There was a van. You must have seen it. It was right here. He looks up and down the road, climbs in his seat and shuts the door. I didn't see a van, he says, with concerned scepticism, just like my mum and dad did all those years ago. An unexpected fury rises up and bursts out of me. There was a bloody van, okay? It was right here. What, you think I'm lying? You think I imagined it? It pulled up right alongside us while you were... Where the bloody hell were you, anyway? He seems taken aback by my ferocity. We've argued and bickered like all couples do, but he's never seen me like this. To be fair, I've never seen me like this. For 12 years, the anger and shame of not being believed by my parents had laid dormant. But Terry, to his credit, doesn't contradict or belittle me. I just went for a piss in the bushes. I didn't see a van. I'm sorry. Did something happen? I shake my head. Can we just... He puts the car into gear, lets off the brake, and says the only words I want to hear. Yeah, let's go home. I sit back, put my feet on the floor, and for the second time on this journey, try to regain my equilibrium. But I'm struggling. The face I saw just now in the van, it can't have been the same face I saw all those years ago in that pub car park. It can't have been. No, of course it wasn't. It was my imagination, rising up from the past, seizing the opportunity to strike fear and doubt in me. But I won't let it. I'll recite timetables in my head. I'll count the cat's eyes in the road till we get back home. And when we get back home, I reach across and put my hand on Terry's knee. I'm sorry, I snapped at you. It's okay? I move my hand a little higher up his leg. My turn now to do the little finger dance. I could stay at yours tonight. I try my best to make this sound like an offer and not a desperate plea. He gives me a sideways glance. Really? I hate Terry's flat. It's small and grubby, and its single bed affords the world's most uncomfortable sleeping experience. But I'll take that tonight over being alone. I'll let his imagination take reins if it means my own can be purged. I give him what I hope is an alluring look, but probably appears slightly manic, and say, well, as you say, it'd just be a nice way to end the day. You know, icing on the wanker, he shouts. Not quite the response I was expecting. What? There's a car right up my arse. I look back over my shoulder. All I can see are headlights right up close. Came out of nowhere. I go cold. My heart stops, then races. It's the van. I know it. We're slowing down to let it overtake. But it doesn't. It stays right there, almost touching our bumper. For Christ's sake, just go past if you're in that much of a hurry. Terry, just drive, please, just get us home. But he isn't listening. He's wound his window down, and as the night air roars in, he roars out, "What's your problem, mate? Terry, don't." His temper is rising. Male pride's at stake. But there's an uncertainty too. A growing anxiety as he says, "Look, if the bastard wants to play games, then I'll..." "Terry, drive!" I scream the command, and like a racehorse responding to the whip, he presses his foot down, hard on the accelerator. As we thrust forward, all sense of time, place, and motion suddenly seem to vanish. Just for a moment, nothing exists outside this bubble. Just for a moment, we're flying. And then just as suddenly, reality reaches up, grabs us, slams us back down to the ground, spins us round and upside down. Tyres screeching, Terry's shouting, a crescendo of crushed metal and shattered glass. And then total darkness. Minutes, hours, 1,000 years later, my senses return. Smell first, damp grass and petrol. Then taste, bitter and metallic. And I can feel the cold, solid ground pressing against the side of my face. But that's all I feel. There's no pain, no fear. Just me here, somewhere in the dark. And then I hear a voice, a male voice, low and even, that seems both close and far away at the same time. "It's all right, love. Just hold on. We've got you." I might ask, hold on where? And who's got me? If I could speak. But it seems I can't. "We need to get you away from here," the voice tells me. No reason given, but he seems quite sure about it. A wave of hot air ripples over me, bringing with it a quickening state of awareness. There is a dull, hard, jagged ache in my head, and my fingertips are pressing down into the earth. Something's happened. And it isn't good. I really shouldn't be here like this. I tried to move my arms and my legs, but they won't respond. "Relax, keep still, we've got you." With all the will I still possess, I force my eyelids open. And very gradually, a semblance of vision returns. As if through cloudy water, I see the shape of a man, colourless and featureless, backlit by a flickering glow. "Take my hand," the man says. And I can see his hand reaching out to me. All I've got to do is take it and I'll be safe from the fire. Then, from a different direction somewhere behind me, I hear another voice. Slow and thin and rasping. Jenny! And a hand clasps tight around my ankle. The deeper voice speaks again, urgently. Come on, quickly, take my hand. I look towards it and see more shapes in silhouette behind him. Trees, stark and towering. Their branches like arms, outstretched towards me, beckoning. But the hand clutching my ankle won't let go, and its owner's voice grows louder. Jenny, stay with me! I know this voice. I know it. Terry! It's Terry! I try to form his name on my lips, but nothing comes. The deeper voice speaks. Louder now. Demanding. Swathed in malice. Come with me. I look towards it, and a burst of orange lights up his face. It's him. It's the man in the green van. The man in the car park. The man who has always been there. Waiting. Lurking. And he has my hand now. And he's tugging at me. He's pulling me away from the light. Terry, don't let go, Terry! Please don't let go! But the man is too strong. And Terry's grip on my ankle is failing. And I feel myself slipping towards. I wake with a jolt. In a fog of panic, I struggle to comprehend where I am, what time it is, whether anything is real. Like a diver emerging from deep water, I gasp a lungful of air. My fingertips are gripping hold of my bare knees, pressing right down to the bone. A rush of sensation. Sight, sound,